Welcome, it's time for a Bitcoin update video, also covering Bitcoin dominance and altcoins, going from weekly time frame down to lower time frames, talking about the current trade I'm in on Bitcoin. So getting through everything across the crypto market in this video. If you guys want to see more frequent updates, you can see my daily posts on X, where I'm posting my positions and just my daily thoughts about the more small movements in the market that might not be worth making a full video on. So my current trade on Bitcoin, when I entered it, talking about the setup for that and why I'm entering where I'm entering, just daily updates about what I'm expecting across the markets. Also, make sure to check out my affiliate exchange Bitunix if you guys need a crypto exchange. This one requires no KYC or VPN, so anyone in the world can use it. I know a lot of exchanges require KYC, VPNs, depending on your geolocation. So Bitunix is great for anyone who can't access a lot of exchanges due to your location. A lot of US clients might be restricted from a lot of exchanges. So check out my affiliate link in the description if you're interested. Now let's get on to Bitcoin here, starting with a weekly time frame. Let's talk about what's going on here. So this pullback that we just saw, we're in weekly bull structure, we're in an uptrend. So what we want to see is pulling back, creating a hidden bullish divergence, resetting indicators, and we got the hidden bullish divergence. So RSI reset below 50, we got a hidden bullish divergence here drawn in and making the higher low, also pulling back into the lower Bollinger Band and resetting things nicely on our MACD, now curling back to the upside. So RSI also recovering above that 50 line. We have pushed out of the lower Bollinger Band with the hidden bullish divergence here. Things are looking quite good for continuation to the upside. Not to mention at the lows here, we got a nice swing failure pattern. It's a nice bullish hammer candle here off the lows. And so we have a lot of signs that the bottom is in. I believe the bottom is currently in, and I think that we are heading towards new highs, cycle highs for the final blow off top, maybe between 180 to 200K, something like that. But we'll kind of update things more later on in the cycle for the exact cycle peak or when that's going to be expected. But I'm thinking at minimum, maybe 180K plus. So let's go down to a daily and talk about some of the other things that are looking really good, and we're looking really good as we push down here. So something that I was updating on X as well was this bullish divergence, getting this to confirm and cross up, which happened on this candle here. So we got this MACD bullish divergence, which confirmed on the cross up. And that was kind of the biggest thing that I wanted to see to confirm the bottom, but also reclaiming EMAs, wanting to see still the daily momentum get into that above 70 level. So I want to see strong daily momentum to the upside with RSI. And so we still have a little bit of work to do, but I'm feeling pretty confident about the bottom being in, and that we should really see a strong trending move with minimal pullbacks here on Bitcoin. So a couple other things to note here: EMAs fully reclaimed. So we got the 4-hour 200 EMA, we have the daily 200 EMA, hourly 200 EMA, all reclaimed. We have the hourly crossed over the 4-hour, 4-hour over the daily. And so things are looking really good as far as a bottom being in and trending up strongly. Now let's go down to a 4-hour where we can look at our very strong momentum reading that we got on this move up, which is a very good sign. And so here on RSI, we got as high as 85.58. And typically when we see very strong momentum to the upside, there's going to be quite a bit of follow through after that type of move. So don't be super surprised if we don't pull back all that far and just really get going on a nice strong move to the upside. That's going to be kind of my main case here with Bitcoin, considering how strong the momentum is here up to the 4-hour. I know even on 12-hour, we did get up there, but not really anything extreme. 75 is not all that crazy, but the 4-hour, we did get all the way up to that 85.58. So if we look back at previous points, we can see normally when we get this type of strong 85-ish reading, is we're just getting started on our massive run, breaking out of a big consolidation range. And we can look back here as well. Right at the beginning of these moves, we get those strong, really, really strong RSI readings. And that's just the beginning of our huge moves. You can look back here as well, where we get that strong momentum, that 85 plus on RSI 4-hour. And then that's just really either a midway or beginning to our big move or a big advance for the main trend to continue. So that's what we're seeing here on this current move. So it's very promising for big continuation to the upside with not too steep of pullback. So don't be surprised if this kind of leaves things behind relatively fast. I'm thinking that is what we're probably going to see here with Bitcoin, is not a whole lot of retesting down into the low 80s. I'm not expecting that we revisit these lows down here. Although anything can happen based on this strong momentum that we're seeing, thinking that we are ready to start running in a real way. So ideally, that's what we get. And that can kind of lead us into what I'm thinking with this trade that I was sharing earlier. So posted that setup here on X. This was, let's see, April 24th, 91,837. And that coincides with this pullback right here. So this was the entry, actually. This wick below range lows here that put in the swing failure, that was the entry. And so I was looking at this hidden bullish divergence on RSI here. And we can see we get that 3-wave correction, which I love to see. Nice 3-wave correction, sweep the lows, swing failure, continue for new highs. That's exactly what I was looking for, and got the entry down there. Let's see, what was that exact price again? 91.8. So right around here, 91.8, just below those lows here. And got the follow through to the upside. Right now, we're just correcting sideways, which is also a good sign, just kind of consolidating sideways. And so really just trying to get in for a strong momentum move. Maybe we don't get it. Maybe it comes back down and I can potentially get a better entry. But I'm ideally thinking, okay, we have some really strong momentum on this 4-hour. Ideally, like all the previous big breakout runs that we've had on Bitcoin this cycle and in previous cycles, we don't see a whole lot of pulling back, anything super deep. So this was a pretty aggressive entry, and I talked about that on X when I was taking the position. But we'll see how it pans out. If it does come lower, then I will still be looking for a long, specifically because we are already flipped into bullish structure. So if we look at the 4-hour, we're in a bullish uptrend now. We're over all relevant EMAs, daily, hourly, and 4-hour. And so looking for a pullback into those EMAs. If we're going to get it, we may just keep chugging along. But if momentum kind of slows here and we see a bigger pullback, that's fine. We can, try and get in still. But the idea is still going to be buying dips at this point, not looking for shorts, not looking for big moves down, not looking to come all the way back down to new lows at 74K. Definitely not that. So I'm thinking the upside is going to be favored from here out until the end of the cycle for Bitcoin. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. We can take a look at some of the data for this. That's also looking really good. You can see that the spot premium here, it's really healthy. Even as we pushed to the highest point, we actually got to the lowest point on our premium here. And if we go out, zoom out a bit, can see that we're actually at the lowest point during this high price after this big push up, getting to the lowest point on our premium, lower than it was all the way back here before this move. So that's super healthy. That shows us that we have spot buyers, and it also shows us potentially that there's a decent amount of shorts getting in here. So it could be one of the two between spot buyers and aggressive shorts. We also see the negative funding. As we push all the way up to here, we get extreme negative funding all the way up here after this big push up, which is super healthy. Again, that's just going to show either shorts being aggressive or the fact that spot buyers are aggressive, which is great. We want to see spot picking up this move and not, going based on a leveraged long rally here. We want this to be spot driven, not leverage driven. So things are looking quite healthy on these metrics. And so I'm quite optimistic about this move on Bitcoin, expecting that we will get going for new all-time highs this cycle. And again, while I do think momentum's strong, I think we probably just keep going with minimal pullbacks. If there's a pullback, that's a great opportunity in my eyes. And not expecting to come down too much lower, especially not to retest all the way down to new lows here of this pullback. I think it's kind of over. The worst of it's over. Now let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. So daily time frame. Can still see we're in a nice uptrend. I made a post about this final move that we're seeing here. In my eyes, is the final move. And I'm thinking we are forming kind of this 5-wave finishing move here. So just a final impulse to the upside and likely sweeping these final untapped highs right here. So up to there, we're not quite there yet, but if we can move up a bit higher, so upon strength with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's going to have the strength that I'm thinking we might see here with the momentum carrying through and minimal pullbacks, then we probably come up a bit more on Bitcoin dominance before getting some sort of alt season to kind of finish off this market cycle. Alt season is going to be kind of when Bitcoin is starting to get near its peak and peaking out, that money flowing out of Bitcoin into altcoins. So when Bitcoin strength is starting to fade, that's when we will see the altcoins start outperforming. But right now, looks like we may have a little upside left here on the Bitcoin strength, which is fine because we want to see Bitcoin continue for new all-time highs and continue its strength with this move that we're seeing right now towards 150, 180K, 200K. And then once we get up to those higher numbers, start seeing that Bitcoin dominance dropping off. And ideally, Bitcoin rallying a little bit more towards its peak as altcoins really take off. Money flows into altcoins out of Bitcoin. So something like this, where we take these highs here, and then we start getting that big sudden drop off, that should all happen very fast, as we've always seen in the past, where when this starts tanking, it all happens very quickly. And so alt season, or whatever you want to call it, altcoin outperformance should still be happening. It's not called off or canceled. It's just taking a bit longer than the previous cycles, which is fine. It just means that Bitcoin still hasn't started, or people haven't started really taking their profits out of Bitcoin. They're still buying up Bitcoin over alts right now. So when money is ready to leave Bitcoin and flow into alts, that's when we get this downtrend on Bitcoin dominance and see that money flowing into alts. So that is pretty much it for Bitcoin dominance, altcoins as a whole, when to expect alt season. Ideally taking these highs here first. Could sweep the highs up here as well, but we'll just see how strong this is. I think it would make more sense to not take the highs all the way up here and probably just finish it off with something like this, kind of this 5-wave move. You can see it, what I'm talking about here. So this drive often will finish off on kind of the 5-wave type of move, something like that. We'll see how it pans out, but expecting that Bitcoin dominance does start tanking relatively soon. So don't need to be too worried about your altcoins yet. Market cycle is not over. When it's ready to be over, we will see that Bitcoin dominance is tanking and see some of that money flowing out of Bitcoin, but we're just not seeing that yet. So that's why I'm feeling pretty good about Bitcoin still going much higher. Until we really see this start downtrending, Bitcoin still has the strength, still making new highs. That's the expectation. So we'll see how things pan out, and I'll update it as needed. Thanks, guys, for watching, and have a great day.